Hi everyone, Simona here from Vectortwist. In today's tutorial, we're going to create an isometric round castle tower or fortress tower. And we're going to be especially focusing on the top part where we have the gaps in between the wall of our round isometric tower. Now before we get started, please take the time to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll get notified when the next tutorial on Vectortwist is live. So without further ado, let's get started. Now in Adobe Illustrator, by the way I'm working with the latest version, Illustrator 2021, I would like to show you how to create the top part of an isometric tower. These towers are really fun for any elements if you're building a castle or you're going to have some isometric game assets. And of course, an isometric tower is really easy to create if we're working off a square, but what about round towers? And I would like to show you how we can create the top part of our fortress tower and how we can easily make those gaps happen without having to cut everything into pieces and then taking a lot of time to create it. Just a quick mention, the bottom parts and everything else is simply created from circles and then using the effect under Effect 3D, Extrude and Bevel, and just make sure that you use the isometric view under the projection. Now let me show you how we can create this top part. First we're going to use the proper colors. So I've created a group in my swatches panel. I'm going to drag it over to the left side. And then we're going to use the ellipse tool from the toolbar. And then we pick the lightest color of my group, and then we're simply going to create a circle. If you already created your base for your tower, just make it approximately the same size. We can easily shrink it down or scale it up. So create a circle, and then we're going to create a copy in the front. So let's go to Edit, Copy, and then Edit, Paste in Front. Now with the Free Transform tool, let's shrink it down. The size of it depends on how thick you want your wall pieces to be for the top of your tower. Once you've done that, select both of the circle, open up the Pathfinder panel, and then hit the Exclude button. This will cut out the middle part. After that, we're going to continue with just simple shapes. Then with the Rectangle tool, we're going to create a thin rectangle, probably about this size. This will be basically the gap in between. We're going to select both the rectangle and our circle, and then just going to center it horizontally and vertically. After that, I'm going to turn on my Smart Guides. So under View, I'm going to turn on my Smart Guides, select my rectangle, and then with the Rotate tool, I'm going to press the optional Alt key, and when I see center, I'm going to click once. Now in the Rotate pop-up tool, we're going to create copies around. Every 45 degrees we want a copy. So I can set 45 degrees for the angle, and then I press Copy. Now I'm not going to deselect, and then with the Duplicate shortcut, Command and D on the keyboard, I'm just going to add more copies. Just hit it twice, and then you have all of your pieces. Once that is done, you want to select all of your rectangles, and then in the Pathfinder, we want to unite them. Now keep this selected, and also add to the selection, just press and hold the Shift key, our cutout piece of the circle. Then we're going back to the Pathfinder panel, and this time we're going to hit minus front. So basically, those rectangles that we've just united, we're going to be cutting out from the back. So hit minus front, and now we have our starting pieces for our stones for the top of the isometric tower. The next step is to select the 3D Rotate tool and Bevel. So select the pieces, then go to Effect, 3D, and choose Extrude and Bevel. In the pop-up, choose Isometric Top, and then set Extrude Depth to 60 or 70, depending how tall you want your pieces to be. We can double check with the preview. This looks pretty good. But make sure that for the surface that you set no shading. So we can give it our own colors. Once you've done that, click OK. Then let's expand it. So under Object, we're going to expand the appearance. And then we're going to give it some colors. Now since all of the elements are grouped, I want to ungroup. So let's go to Object, Ungroup, and then check. Again, ungroup, and then we might have to do it a few more times so all of our elements are ungrouped. This makes it just easier later on to group them together again, but as a stone one by one. Then we can add the colors. So the darkest part are going to be in the inside, because we have the shadow falling on our right side and the light coming from the top. So these parts in the inside would be darker. Same with the outside of here. So I'm just going to select all of the elements that are going to have the darkest color. I think I have all of them, and then in my swatches panel I'm going to choose my darkest brown. Then I'm going to select the medium colors. This would be on the outside here in the front, probably this side here, the inside, the side of this stone, and so forth. So once I selected all of them, I'm going to give it a medium color, and then the rest, of course, will stay light. Now, if you have some extra lines that you see here, you might have to zoom in. So let's select the front and then lock it. So go to Object, Lock Selection, and then we can select just the outside part and then delete it. Just make sure that you unlock everything afterwards again. So let's zoom out. And now we have the pieces, the top stones for our round isometric castle tower or fortress tower. So now we can just group them all together again. So I'm going to select the elements for this stone and group it, the second one, the third one, and so forth. I just want each stone grouped so I can move them around on top of my tower. The last one. And then I can select all of them and then move them on top. Now I might have to zoom in a little bit to see if I have to shrink all of them down. Right now they're just a little bit bigger than my castle tower. So with the 3 transform tool, I'm just going to shrink them a little bit down. And then I can just nudge them into place. I'm going to turn off my smart guides. And then just with the arrow keys on the keyboard, I'm just going to be moving them into place until I don't see any gaps anymore. And that's pretty much it. Just a few minor adjustments. And now we created our round isometric tower. I'll see you then.